everybody, it's Brandon Scheid from Liquid Force Kites, and I'm here to talk with you about a product I'm really excited about, and that's the Amp Bar. Now the Amp Bar was the answer to the question, like, when is Liquid Force going to make a freestyle dedicated bar? And so we finally have come around to the idea that in our line there is a demand for that small, easy to use, super padded bar that slows the kite down, makes your handle passes a little bit easier because it's shorter and the kite doesn't turn as much, has a dedicated freestyle leash, freestyle loop connection, and is really soft and plush and durable for those riders that want to push their riding on our Hi-Fi X kite, or maybe someone who wants to ride a smaller bar on their Envy, or a surf rider looking for a small compact bar for their tiny kite sizes that's soft and isn't going to ding your surfboard. So let's get down to some of the features that you'll find on the Amp Bar and why it works so well for freestyle. So the first big thing you're going to notice is the size of the bar. The size is a 45 cm bar. It is short. And what that means is for those of you riding smaller size kites, it's going to slow that kite down and make the kite turn, the turning response of the kite a little bit slower. So for those riders that are doing, double handle passes or want to do aggressive tricks or are riding in the park and they don't want their kite to turn as they swap the bar, the shorter bar size is going to really help with that. Now on your bigger kites, it's really going to make those kites feel like the cable park. That kite's just going to sit and park and ride. And on those smaller sizes all the way down to a 7, it's going to make them a lot more manageable for doing those tricks in those higher wind scenarios. So you have a short, compact bar. The next big thing you're going to notice is these full molded plush EVA bar ends. So that means super soft and squishy. So when you're doing your passes, if you're hitting your hands or slipping on the bar, this thing comes down and is going to hit you in the face or anything like that. This thing is super soft and super plush, and that just makes it really padded, and you're not going to have any nicks or bumps or bruises on your hands from your bar ends. We have our bar winders, and as you can see, they're shaped to hold the lines in there. We also have some cutouts on the side to allow these winders to bend and move a little bit. I know I talked about on our other MCV3 bar, the separated line float actually increases the turning speed of your bar. So this connected bar float is actually going to kind of slow that turning response on this bar, making it even better for those freestyle riders looking for a kite to just park, stay, and hold. The next thing is we have our standard release, which is a push away release. You just simply lift this hood up and that's going to release the chicken loop, flagging your kite out if you have it hooked to the flagging line, giving you 100% safety. We have the ability to just simply snap this back into place. You just don't touch this red hood because it actually has to come up to lock back down. So once it's locked in place, I grab, usually me personally, I grab right up here by the rotor head, firmly grab my chicken loop, insert it in and push, and you can see the hood snaps down with a really satisfying click, thus locking you back into the chicken loop situation. We also have a rotatable soft plush safety pin to go along with our larger diameter freestyle loop, and that just makes unhooking in and out easier. You can rotate that completely out of the way, or for those of you that really don't want to even have this on here, by just removing one of these little pins right here with a surf key, by pushing it out, you can take this safety pin off of here and just get it out of the way if you don't like it at all. So that's a larger diameter freestyle loop, our ultra safe and easy to use quick release system, and our flagging line, stainless flagging line down here that allows you to ride in a safe kind of suicide situation where you're hooked in for those where you're actually leashed in for your unhooked handle pass. Above that is our rotor head, so the ability to rotate the chicken loop 360 degrees, thus getting those line twists out. For those of you that do a lot of double Esta blinds or are doing a lot of turning, looping with their kite, you get some line twists. You can go ahead and manage those by rotating the rotor head and spinning those line twists out. Moving up, we have our Lubrizol tube. Now this is a new material for our center line, and it's extremely soft and slippery when it's wet in the water. So this not only is smoother and easier on your fingers and reduces abrasion on the bar, it also helps when you're trying to turn the kite and sheet in and out at the same time. It reduces that pinching factor on the bar and really allows the bar to be smooth and fluid in the way that you turn and sheet the bar. So that kind of takes care of the bottom of the bar. We still go with our standard construction here on the bar itself. It's a single molded piece. It's all injected. It gives us a really strong bar and also an extremely light bar. The grip is still pretty narrow, so it's not too fatiguing on your hand, and it's covered with this really smooth, nice, plush, grippy EVA. In the center here, you can also see a stainless bushing, so that prevents wear and tear when you're doing sheeting in and out of the bar. As we move up, we go up to our stainless steel trim cleat. Now this cleat has worked really well for us throughout the history of the MC. It's polished, it's lightweight, and it works really well. If you combine this clean cleat with our really easy to use pulley up here, that you have a really simple, depowerable, clean, easy system. We also integrate some Velcro here on the end, so you can stick the Velcro to the cleat itself and thus eat up the slack of your depower. Because like I said, if you really have your kite depowered, you probably should go get a new kite, but if you're just going to keep riding because you only have 20 minutes before you have to go to work, I want you to use this Velcro up here, because if this kind of comes around here and wraps you up like this, that's not really going to be a good time for you or for the kite or the gear. So by simply using the feature that we've designed here on the bar, you can just go ahead and Velcro this right to the cleat, and it stays out of the way. As you go up these leader lines, you can see they're coated to reduce abrasion and just take some of the sun off the lines, because the UV is what damages this stuff more than anything. If you come up here, you can see we have some adjustment knots, and those adjustment knots are for you to be able to tune your bar. For those of you that know, your center lines often stretch first, so you need to actually be able to lengthen your rear lines. So you see these come from the factory in the shortest setting, and you can go ahead and move them longer and longer to help tune your bar and keep that kite flying perfectly well. Another big thing that we've added this year is our high Y adjustment piece. So by unscrewing this little anodized and plastic piece, you can slide this bad boy up and down your center lines, clamp it back down, and decide where you want that adjustment for that Y to split on your center lines. We found that in our testing that where that point sits actually makes a big difference in how the kite feels on the bar and how the turn shape of the kite reacts to turning input. So by sliding it up on the lines, you generally have a kite that pivots a little bit more with a tiny bit more bar pressure. As you move that thing back down, you lose a little bit of bar pressure and you get a nice big arc wide turn. So play around with that. I personally like to be about a meter away from my pulley here to kind of give me the best feel I like on my bar, but you can go anywhere up to 5 or 6 or 7 meters up the lines and really change the turning shape and the way that kite feels. The amp bar is then finished off with our FL50 Teufelberger lines. These lines are the highest strength lines on the market. They stretch the least, they have really good UV resistant coatings, and they have a really long life. So a lot of people often overlook the lines. You know, you gotta have a really quality set of lines on your bar, and that's keeping your kite flying great. So you can see this one is set up in a 4-line configuration, but the amp bar is actually a freestyle bar, so we pair it with our freestyle kite, which means that we have a 5th line here that is completely removable. So this 5th line actually isn't involved in the safety system of the kite. It's only there to help you relaunch. It just simply runs through this top line on this pulley here. You can see the safety system is connected to one of my center lines, which still gives me a 100% flagging. But the reason why we've made this so easily removable is we thought that some people who fly 4-line kites, like people who are in the surf, maybe want a smaller, softer bar, or someone riding an Envy that wants a more freestyle-oriented bar, would want to actually take this line off and run it 4-line. And that's what I've been doing down here in La Ventana, riding the Envy in the park and in the flat water. So I've go ahead and take this 5th line off, but it does come with the 5th line on for those of you that are going to be using this bar with the Hi-Fi X3. So I'm just going to toss that down. The other thing the bar does actually come with, and I just have to reach around here and grab it, is our new Freestyle Leash. Now this leash was designed between me and Julian to make a leash that is extremely strong and isn't going to cut you to bits and doesn't have a lot of heavy pieces. So you can see on the back here we've removed the hook that actually hooks you to the leash simply just by pulling the release open. You can see it's just an open piece of coated line that you can put on your harness. Makes it really easy to do your handle passes and nothing gets caught up on your where it connects to your leash, and it also means no heavy metal hook clanking around behind you. We then have our long length leash, so it stretches extremely long so that you can do your double passes, your 720s, your 900s, whatever you're doing that you need a leash that stretches. I can't even stretch it to its full length, and it's nice and soft and plush. And then at the end up here, we have a removable hook. So for those of you that want to keep the hook to make it extremely easy to transfer your kite to your friends, it's the same standard hook that's on our micro leash or on our regular leash, but it also comes with a pigtail that you can see I've installed here on my flagging ring. So by having this pigtail here and this lark's headable area here, I can go ahead and lark's head myself to this piece of line, and now I'm connected to my kite just like I would be if I had a hook, but I don't have a big metal hook anywhere near my hands clunking around, kind of bouncing around. It just makes a really clean and simple setup that's extremely strong and reliable for those of you that are letting go of your kite a lot. You definitely don't want your leash to break, so you want to have a really reliable leash, and we're happy to say that this leash has been working really great. I've been riding it in Brazil, in Hood River, in Hatteras for over 8 months now, and I still have yet to break my first prototype leash. So I can strongly stand behind that this leash is 100% one you can really trust your kite and your gear to. So that's kind of the Ant Bar in a nutshell. This is a smaller, more compact padded bar designed and oriented for those freestyle riders looking to do multiple handle pass variations. You know, have a really strong padding when they're swapping the bar, and maybe even for somebody who just wants a softer, smaller bar. Just because it's made for a freestyle rider doesn't mean a normal rider can't use the benefits of a soft, plush, smaller bar. Maybe you have a young kid who doesn't have super big reach, or you have someone that you want to put on a small kite that you don't want them to really have to feel like they're over controlling the kite. You know, by having that smaller bar option, you really slow the kite down and really help people work on their fundamental skills. So just because it's a freestyle bar doesn't mean you have to be a freestyler, but it is designed to be a freestyle oriented bar, and it's the Amp, and it's amazing.